Hello everyone, today we're going to do a little review or a rundown comparison of the two pieces of gear that are kind of different than normal, but it's the Hill People Gear Mountain Serape and the Helicon-Tex Swagman roll. And they're basically kind of a wearable poncho liner, a new or a different variation of the classic whoopee blanket design. So we've got those here. It's the fall and we've been using them a little bit, pulled them out, and kind of we'll show the differences and what we like about them and what we don't like about them. Okay, one difference is this Hill People gear is a USA made in the USA company. So in my opinion, that's the one that you should buy first. Or if you had to choose one, I think that I would choose that one, not just for that reason only, but it's always a big priority if I can help it. Helikon-Tex is, I think, British or something, and they sew some of their stuff in Poland, and I don't know, they definitely outsource some things, but they're very similar garments, and they have good insulation. The Clima-Shield Apex is super good stuff. So let's just go over, first we'll go over the Hill People gear one. Okay, these are basically a blanket that folds up into some kind of a cocoon type of sleeping bag. And you can see this Hill People gear one. It basically can turn into a big rectangular bag. Obviously you've got the hood kind of flopping over on the side. This one has a, I guess it's maybe about a 40% zip, so you still have a big open spot here. But I'm gonna go ahead and get in it real quick and just show you. And again, I'm 6'7", so keep that in mind when I crawl in this thing. Okay, now I'm all the way in here laying straight, flat on my back, and basically I can tuck it around my chin. And it's pretty roomy in here for being a rectangular bag. You would definitely catch a draft coming in this side though, but it's long enough for definitely an average to tall person, especially if you had a hat or something on, to stay warm. We've tested these, and with your clothes on, I think comfort range is maybe 45, 40, depending on. And if you're in a shelter, maybe 35 maybe, but if you're out in the open kind of like this, you'll feel that little bit of a difference. So to put this thing into sleeping bag mode, it's got a zipper that basically you just undo it. We'll undo it real quick. And so now we'll put it on as a poncho. And this is one of the reasons why we like it, because if you're cold and you don't want to get in your sleeping bag yet, you know, you can have this on kind of in the mornings or around the campfire, and it's a durable synthetic insulation, so it can take a little dew or dampness. But this one hooks together in this overcoat mode with these two little clasps here, these two little hooks, and you can tighten this waist up, cinch it with these little cord locks. But you can wear, this is the size large. They have a large and a medium, but this is how it would look on a tall, skinny guy like myself. The hood's pretty roomy. It's small, smaller than some, but it's good enough to definitely help keep you, from getting a draft coming in, and definitely retain some warmth. So what makes these special is that it's kind of just a souped up blanket that makes it easier to wear. Okay, so in just a regular blanket mode, that's the size of it. It's definitely significant size. You could use it for a ground cover for two, and you could use this as a makeshift type of a rain shelter. Even though I've washed these by hand and gotten them pretty wet, they definitely don't keep you dry for long. They'll prolong it just a little bit, but they're definitely not waterproof. But being synthetic like they are, they dry out super quick. And usually one of the main uses that actually we use these for is kind of, we camp in teepees a lot or out in the open. And so we'll put it in sleeping bag mode, and then slide a lightweight summer down bag in there, and it protects your down bag from moisture, condensation dripping off the inside of the teepee walls, or just dew. If you're sleeping out like this, then it'll just protect your down bag from absorbing as much moisture weight, and it's really a pain when your down does get wet. So they're kind of an over bag and an extra coat layer. But basically, I like a lot of features on this one, but the biggest one that comes to mind is this zipper here, just to help get it off of other layers. If you have a hat on, it just makes it a lot better. The other Helikon-Tex does not have that. But one of the small disadvantages of this one is the zipper totally disconnects, so sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly and funny if you're not lined up right trying to get this in sleeping bag mode as quickly. But that's the Helikon, or the Hill People gear, and this one's about 2 years old, and we've been pretty rough with it. We use it around the house and outside. So it definitely gets a lot of use and has been through the wash, and it's got no symptoms of fatigue, no fraying, and no malfunctions of any kind. It's about 2 pounds, a little over 2 pounds, so it's about a ½ pound heavier than the Helikon-Tex, but I do feel like it's warmer. It's got a little bit more insulation in there, so it's a little bit more weight, but depending on what you're doing, it's a good unit. So now this one is the good old Helikon-Tex, and this is what it's like in its sleeping bag mode. The first thing I noticed trying to get into this thing was how narrow it was, and as far as human beings go, I'm a narrow human being. So it's got the length about the same as the other, but when I'm trying to get into this one, it's much tighter on the shoulders. One thing that separates it is this one has a full zip, so that's nice. You can eliminate that draft depending on how, if you put another bag in here or whatever, it might get tight. But this one for me is definitely super narrow when I get in it. It's got good length to it. But if I try and zip the whole thing up, I can barely rest with my Patrick. I could barely rest with my arms to my side without feeling the insulation tighten up and compress against me. So there's really not that much room in this, and I'm a really skinny guy, and you definitely can't put a big down bag in this one. I think it's probably at least 6 inches narrower in this mode than that other one. So I have a difficult time using it for that same way, even though if you were a lady or a smaller than me, which I don't know if that's possible as far as girth goes, but this one is definitely much narrower, and it doesn't suit the same purpose as an over bag for a down bag. So maybe for a child, I think this would be ideal, but definitely something to keep in mind. So you got the full zip, which is nice, but you can't really zip it all the way up, because then it feels like you're just wrapped up in a rug or something. So usually I'll have this thing only zipped up half of the way or 2/3 of the way anyway, so that I can't really take advantage of that, unfortunately. And I think a lot of guys would feel the same way that I do. This one does have some tabs on the corners, so you could hang it up or pull it taut to dry it or do a makeshift shelter on it. And it's big enough except for the width in that mode. And another drawback of this one for me is the lack of zipper up here. So for a head hole, it's really tight. Let me show you. And I don't have an especially large head, but I do have quite a bit of hair. But it's so tight that if I'm active at all and I go from cold to hot, it feels like it's suffocating me here too, and I can't ventilate that, and so that's a big negative for me. This one, to put it into overcoat mode, has the simple buckle lock, which it makes a little bit of sound. You heard that, but I guess it does the job just fine, and I kind of prefer this system just because I have had that one come unhooked on me. So that's a little slight difference there. They both have a small chest pocket and pack into their own pocket. This one comes with a stuff sack, but they both tuck into a chest pocket, a little map type of pocket or gloves or something. So that's basically them in a nutshell. They're great garments for a specific purpose. I don't necessarily think this would replace a good coat and an appropriate sleeping bag, but for a bushcrafting type of thing, or adding it over a small down bag and having an extra layer to wear, I can see it definitely coming into play there. And we use them a lot, so it's just maybe not the best for ultralight and specific purposes, but I do think for other purposes, late spring, early fall, and all through the summer, these are great little summer sleeping bags, and you don't have to pack an extra insulation layer for the chilly evenings or mornings. So they definitely serve their purposes. That one's about 180 bucks, I think. It's been a couple years since I got them, and this one I think is a year old, and it's about $120, a little cheaper, I think, for this coyote color. So you pay about $65 more for the Hill People gear, but if I had to choose just one, I would go with that one for me, unless that half pound is a big thing to you, or you're a really small frame person, or for a child. I think they're great. But so yeah, I was already getting claustrophobic in that neck hole. So overall, I think the utility, the Hill People gear got it going on much better, even though this is a good quality garment with good insulation at a good weight, and it's very useful as well. So hopefully this can help you determine if you even want to buy one of these, and if you do, which one that you'll start with first. So anyway, thanks for watching, and enjoy the fall.
So we're gonna throw the football in our whoops and just see how it works and how, I don't know.
I'm ready. What do you feel like, a big old grizzly bear?
Yeah, it's hard to throw.
Hard to catch too.
I just can't get a spiral.
A little tough, isn't it?